The Marvel Universe is saturated with gods, monsters, and science experiments gone right. But among the thunderbolts and gamma rays, there's a man whose superpower is rooted in pure, relentless suffering. We are told he is the man without fear. The deeper truth is that he is the man who is forced to perceive everything. Forget the blinding flash of the gamma bomb. Forget the golden suits of armor. Matt Murdock's tragedy began with a spill of radioactive chemicals that didn't just take his sight. It waged a neurological war on his mind. The void he was left with was immediately filled by an unbearable, chaotic symphony of the world. This isn't just about making up for lost sight. This is about a catastrophic amplification. His brain was fundamentally rewired, diverting the entire bandwidth of his visual cortex to process information from his remaining 4 senses. He didn't gain one superpower. He gained 4 enhanced ones, operating at a level that should, by all logic, have driven him immediately insane. The most dominant enhancement is his hyper-hearing. Imagine an ordinary person hearing 100 voices in a crowded room. For Matt Murdock, he hears 1,000, and he can identify every single one. He hears the individual friction of air molecules as people walk. He hears the creak of the foundations of skyscrapers shifting. He hears the silent passage of a fly landing 20 feet away. His hearing is so precise, it's diagnostic. He hears the subtle shift in blood flow, the microscopic contraction of the heart muscle. He doesn't need an X-ray to know you have a broken rib. He hears the uneven rhythm of your breath. He doesn't need a lie detector. He hears the sudden, minute surge of adrenaline as your heart skips a beat when you try to deceive him. But this precision comes at a devastating cost: sensory overload. A sudden siren, a flashbang grenade, or even a crowded, loud courtroom is an agonizing assault. For Matt, the world is a constant cacophony, a noise he must filter every waking second just to remain a functional human being. The city is screaming, every single moment, every victim, every lie. I hear all of it. The darkness is a relief because it's a filter.
Noise,
The noise
is true fear.
The noise is the true fear. His super touch is equally profound. He can read the raised ink on a page with his fingertips, but he can also feel the subtle shifts in wind pressure, the precise heat emanating from a freshly used gun barrel, and the faint vibrations running through the concrete. He knows where every person in the room is standing, because their movement causes micro changes in the air density that he can feel against his skin. The term radar sense is a cheap comic book simplification. The reality is far more sophisticated. Matt Murdock's world is built on echolocation, but one achieved through disciplined genius. While bats and dolphins use specialized vocal clicks, Matt uses the constant ambient noise of his environment. Every footstep, every exhale, every distant car horn bounces back to him, forming a 3-dimensional, hyper-detailed wireframe model of his surroundings. His perception is not affected by darkness or smoke. In a pitch-black room, he is effectively blind, but his vision remains perfect, built entirely on sound and pressure. He can trace the path of a bullet not by sight, but by hearing the air tear around it and feeling the minute shift in wind direction as it passes. This allows him to predict trajectories and anticipate attacks with a chilling degree of accuracy, which often makes him appear to be a superhuman ninja. He is not seeing the fist. He is calculating the vector based on the pressure change and the subtle sound of the muscle contracting before the punch even begins. This is what sets him apart from a simple human acrobat.
Predict trajectories.
He knows where he is in space, where his opponents are, and where they will be next, all through a continuous, sound-based mathematical calculation. This level of sensory input is a liability unless managed by an iron will. This is where the blind martial arts master Stick enters the narrative. Stick wasn't just a teacher. He was a torturer of the senses. The training was not about learning how to fight. Matt already possessed the physical gifts. The training was about forcing the chaos into an unyielding discipline. Stick taught Matt to filter, to block out the unnecessary noise, to focus his perception like a laser beam. Imagine trying to pick out a single specific frequency from millions, all playing simultaneously, without ever making a mistake. This is the constant, agonizing mental exercise Matt was subjected to. The purpose? To survive his own gift. The strict, almost monastic discipline is his true superpower.
Forcing
It
the
is
chaos.
the silent, internal price of being the man without fear. The training transformed a fragile victim of an accident into the most disciplined sensor on Earth. While his 5 senses are enhanced, his most unique and impactful power is his emotional and intentional perception. This is the key reason he is Marvel's most perceptive hero. Spider-Man has the spider sense, a primal, localized biological warning system for immediate physical threats. It tells him something bad is about to happen. Daredevil's perception is entirely different. It's an intellectual, emotional tool. He doesn't just sense the punch, he perceives the rage fueling the punch. He doesn't just hear the witness speaking, he hears the subtle,
Picking out a
frantic
single
panic
frequency.
in their heartbeat that betrays their lie. This allows him to assess threats on a much deeper psychological level. He doesn't just know where the enemy is, he knows their motive, their level of fear, and their resolve. He can anticipate a villain's next move based on their mental state, giving him an unparalleled strategic advantage in long-term conflict. Contrast this with Tony Stark's technology. Stark suits can analyze chemical compounds and structural integrity, but they cannot analyze a human soul. They cannot hear the truth being hidden by a politician, or the rising terror in a kidnapped child's chest. This ability to perceive the unsaid, the unseen emotional core, makes Matt Murdock an unparalleled figure of justice. He is, in the deepest sense, the only hero who truly knows the difference between a bad man and a desperate man. My senses don't give me the right to judge. They give me the obligation to hear the heart's full testimony. And a beating heart rarely lies.
The next 3 moves.
Ultimately, Daredevil's greatness lies not in his combat skill, but in his ability to live under the weight of perpetual awareness. His heightened senses mean he never truly gets a break. Sleep is not silence. It is simply a less organized noise. Imagine hearing the full tapestry of New York City's suffering 24 hours a day. Every siren, every whispered threat, every heartbroken sob. This constant emotional and auditory bombardment is the painful secret mentioned in our title. He carries the weight of a city not just on his shoulders, but inside his head, every single moment. That burden is what defines him. It is why he puts on the cowl, not to seek out the fight, but to quiet the noise, to manage the sensory catastrophe by focusing it on a handful of threats he can actually deal with. Matt Murdock is not the strongest nor the fastest, but his capacity to perceive the world, to hear its lies, to feel its pain, and to see the truth hidden in the darkness, makes him Marvel's most perceptive and arguably most heroic figure. His sight was taken, but his insight was amplified to divine levels. And that leads us to a final, difficult question. If Matt Murdock were offered his sight back, would he take it? Would he trade this agonizing, all-encompassing awareness for the simple, comforting filter of ordinary vision? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
Final question.
Do you think Daredevil's sight is a tragedy or the greatest gift for his mission?